Research says students who participate in pre-K programs do better in reading and in math. Alabama's first-class pre-K program is succeeding. Marlena Muma reports why advocates want this program expanded across the state. It's time to get some pie. I actually have a homemade pie recipe. It's very simple, but it's very dangerous. It's yogurt pie. Why are you two laughing?
Is it pudding pie?
And over here,
like I said, a lot of energy here, and what they're doing is guarding what's behind these gates and what's underneath that black tarp. And they say they're going to be out here all night, right? Now, this part of the mural, when it's finished, is going to have an image of a bridge that Horace King built in Columbus back in the 1830s. This is just one of the many accomplishments that African Americans made that people in Columbus still benefit from until this day. This is all indication that this neighborhood is bouncing back. It's just taking a little while. Now, coming up tonight at 10, I'll introduce you to one family who did decide to stay here despite this oil spill, and I'll let you hear their reason why. Not only did the woman who lives in this house chain her furniture, her chair, her table together.
Our big story tonight out of Alabama. Local, state, and federal authorities say they've ended a multi-state skimming operation. Authorities say the criminals would target victims at gas stations and use their debit and credit card information to make illegal purchases. Reporter Leah Brooks has the details on this big bust.
The street has speed bumps, but neighbors say they don't work because a car can ride smoothly over them without being slowed down or having to slow down. They say many drivers completely disregard the speed bumps that they can barely see or feel when they drive over because they're almost the same height as the concrete.
I'll be honest, I had no earthly idea we had such a huge Pro Day and Combine fan in Leah Uko. Really looks forward to seeing that upcoming talent.
I look forward to seeing the talent.
Yeah, I like to see him repping out at 225.
It's a challenge.
That was awesome too. I'm sorry, guys. That was awesome. All right, it's almost time for young ladies to find the most important component for prom, a dress. And new today, Columbus police arrested a teenager in connection to a deadly shooting that happened last December.
The car actually hit the side of his neighbor's house first and slamming through to his house, knocking out the only things that were still inside the house, which were the kitchen appliances. From this fence down to this street is all of the city's property. She says that's more than enough space for the city to put a sidewalk in this area. And they just realized that whoever broke in also took coins out of the cash register. She says they first dragged them into the kitchen, asking them where the guns and money were, then dragged them into the living room, then dragged them up these stairs into this bedroom, which they completely ransacked. Our top story tonight, a popular and well-loved high school baseball coach has died following a police chase that ended in a car crash police say he had nothing to do with. Police are still looking for the man they say is responsible for leaving the Columbus community devastated tonight. A mother and father in gut-wrenching shock when they see this wreck here on Buena Vista and Andrews Road. Their son, who Chattahoochee County Coroner's office say is David Pollard, died. Almost everyone standing around the wreck knew Pollard as the beloved baseball coach at Carver High School.
Any child in that school, they know Coach Pollard. They know he's available, he's firm but fair. He's a good man. He's a good coach. He's a good teacher. He's a good mentor.
Witnesses say Pollard was simply at the wrong place at the wrong time.
It wasn't showing no sign of it was gonna stop at all.
Officers were speeding after a man they say stole this Audi. The thief kept driving until he crashed into this Chevy Impala with Pollard inside.
It hit the Impala so hard, like I said, it was going every bit about 90 to 100 miles.
This man's car was also hit. He says the suspect is very young, black, has short black dreadlocks, and ran down Andrews Road.
Got to get these kids back to understanding that God is first. You're accountable. Parents, take responsibility.
Tonight, it's kids, innocent drivers, the owner of this mangled Audi, a wife, and parents who are all affected by one stranger's choice to take a joyride.
Stupid foolishness that could have been prevented.
CPD is still looking for the man they say stole that Audi and ended up killing Coach Pollard. Tonight, LaGrange High School canceled its game against Carver High School and is asking people to pray for Coach Pollard's family. Pollard was 38.
There's a lot of noise out here on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Columbus, but none of it drowns out Summer Smith's thoughts about painting her future.
The first black female animator on Cartoon Network. That's like my main goal.
The freshman is one of the Spencer High School students on this high traffic street with no cell phone or other distractions, just art tools, a wall, and an artist's vision of highlighting many untold stories of African American veterans, business owners, and engineers who contributed to the growth of Columbus. They're people Smith says the black community can look to for inspiration.
It would make them feel like they could also do something for their city and their hometown.
We're trying to beautify the area.
The mural's designer, Stephen Short, wants to put the lesser-known movers and shakers of Columbus's past on the map by painting their stories on the wall.
I really want their legacy to be heard and to be praised.
Now, this part of the mural, when it's finished, is going to have an image of a bridge that Horace King built in Columbus back in the 1830s. This is just one of the many accomplishments that African Americans made that people in Columbus still benefit from until this day.
Yeah, I never knew about him before now.
Smith's other goal is to make her father proud.
I'm proud, and I make sure I instill in her that what this actually means, you know, that she's going to be a part of Columbus history.
From painting this mural, she has learned that while life brought her ancestors many challenges,
I need more paint.
they thrived, and she will too.
You could be anything you want to be if you put your mind to it.
Pawpaw. There's something wrong, Pawpaw.
Kaywin Brockman says his grandchildren woke him up after his home caught fire Sunday morning.
And then I woke up, and I ain't seen nothing but smoke. So I kicked the door. I kicked the door, and I threw the kids out that door. I'm like, Jay Shaw. And I ain't get no response.
Brockman felt his way through looking for his grandson.
I crawled just to go get him, and I couldn't. I mean, the fire, it was too bad. I couldn't.
So he says he waited and watched Morrilton firefighters try several times to go into this duplex to find the 4-year-old. Once the fire was out, crews were able to find Jay Sean Carter.
I done lost everything I had, plus my damn grandbaby, man. Plus my grandbaby.
He thinks about his losses in this hotel room where he'll sleep Monday night.
I have nothing. I really ain't got hot water to cry with.
As heartbreaking as it is to see his home, his car, and clothes destroyed, he says he knows in time he can replace them. But filling the void now in his heart, he says will remain impossible.
I don't know how to feel, man. I don't know.
Another family did live in that duplex also. A woman says she, her brother, and her 7-year-old daughter managed to get out of their unit through the back door. None of them were hurt. Dorothy Holloway says people who can't understand why she now loves this convicted killer like her own son need to understand that forgiveness means accepting an apology even when you don't want to or even if it's hard.
The bullet went through the tail light, through the trunk, the back seat, and then through my son's seat, and hit him in the lower part of his back.
These details from police pierced Dorothy Holloway's heart. She says her 23-year-old son, Brian Norns, was driving on Southwest Street in Little Rock when a man targeted him and pulled the trigger, killing him instantly. Brian's death pulled his mother into deep depression that lasted 15 years until one day in court.
I cried for the young man because I saw a baby, 16 years old, done wasted his life.
At that moment, Dorothy says she knew only one way to move on. She wrote him, and he responded last December.
I have prayed to him daily, seeking your mercy and forgiveness.
Taking her forgiveness one step further, Dorothy traveled to Mariana to meet Murphy.
He cried, I cried.
And their kinship formed.
He made sure I had this before Mother's Day.
They write each other.
I just can't help but to write something about God.
At least 3 times a month.
There's 6 in March. Look how thick this one is.
Now, their main way of communicating is through writing each other letters, but she also puts $25 on his phone card every week. That way he can call her and she can hear the sound of his voice.
Lately, their conversations are about reducing Murphy's sentence.
There he is.
And she feels it's only right that everyone forgives him for his sins.
Easy to say it with your mouth, but if you don't feel it in your heart, hey, it ain't doing nobody any good.
And Dorothy says her daughter and her husband all love Brian Norms and no one will replace him, but they support her for reaching out to this convicted killer. In fact, because Dorothy couldn't make it to visit him last week, her daughter went in her place. Wow. People who knew a 14-year-old boy lost at Myrtle Beach almost 2 weeks ago remember what a stand-up young man he was. It's tonight's big story. A crew searched for days trying to find Jalen Tolbert, but lost sight of him. Tonight, his friends and faculty at his middle school make a point not to lose sight of the impact Jalen had on his peers.
Jalen was going to be someone. Jalen was going to improve himself. Jalen was going to be a super student.
Funny, charismatic, driven, and smart. These are just some of the words teachers, faculty, and students here at Rothschild Learning Academy use to describe Jalen Tolbert.
I could see that he was trying to talk to a young lady and he was struggling a little bit.
Jalen's principal, Michael Forte, laughing as he recalls the vibrant teen being quite the ladies' man.
I said, man, your game a little weak there. And he started laughing, so we laughed about that. But he came back, though, and he said, well, your game weak too, Mr. Forte. I said, okay, you got me on that.
The school set up this bulletin outside to honor the popular and beloved student. On June 16th, Jalen and his 10-year-old brother got caught in the waves at Myrtle Beach. A lifeguard and bystander were able to save the younger brother, but lost sight of Jalen, prompting multiple agencies to search days for him. But no luck, which devastated his classmates.
The concept of death is far from reality for them.
A reality friend Lonnie Tarver says he blocks out from time to time.
Just sitting there thinking how life's short.
Tarver and other friends say Jalen was like a brother to them.
He was a great guy compared to other people. He stayed out of mess.
I remember he used to just give me money, give me candy, all that. We'd be at the lunch table talking, all that.
All that they'll remember forever about the Rothschild Middle School teen, but they say next school year won't be the same.
I was looking forward to seeing Jalen in the fall, so I wasn't prepared for this. I mean, what principal really is prepared to lose any student, let alone a student that they know well?
A memorial for Jalen Tolbert is scheduled for tomorrow at Greater Shady Grove Missionary Baptist Church.